than 60 years, the Michoud Assembly Facility has been known as America's Rocket Factory, the nation's premier site for manufacturing and assembly of large-scale NASA space structures and systems. Acquired by NASA in 1961, Michoud manufactured rockets for all 13 Apollo missions and 135 external tanks for the Space Shuttle program. And today we're proud to continue NASA's mission, which will take the first woman and the first person of color to the moon, with production of core stages of NASA's Space Launch System rockets, Orion spacecraft, and the exploration upper stage for its Artemis missions. Michoud's storied history dates back to the 1700s, when King Louis XV of France granted 34,000 acres of land to local businessman and militia commandant Gilbert Antoine Saint-Maxent. The land changed hands several times, with parcels being sold off until it was purchased by its namesake, Antoine Michoud, in 1827. It remained in the Michoud family until 1910, when his great-nephew, Marie-Alphonse Michoud, sold the property to the New Orleans Drainage Company. The years that followed brought more owners and development to the site, including the Intracoastal Canal through its southern portion to serve as an alternate route to the Gulf of Mexico. The United States' involvement in World War II brought modernization to the site, when in 1939 the government purchased nearly 1,000 acres of the land and built the Michoud Ordnance Plant under the direction of famed New Orleans boat builder and designer Andrew Higgins. In support of the war effort, the facility was contracted to build C-76 cargo aircraft, an all-wood aircraft to supplement the shortage of metal. However, the contract was rescinded before any aircraft could be built. Shortly afterwards, the facility was contracted to build C-46 cargo planes, yet only 2 aircraft were manufactured before the war came to an end. During the Korean War in the 1950s, the facility was retooled to start production of Sherman and Patton tank engines, contracted through the Chrysler Corporation. In less than a year, Michoud completed the first load of tank engines and shipped them to Chrysler's Delaware tank plant. Production of the tank engines ended in 1954, and the facility remained in the hands of the U.S. Army until 1958, at which point it was slated to be decommissioned. In 1961, Marshall Space Flight Center Director Dr. Werner von Braun visited Michoud to inspect the site. He saw the potential in the then-vacant facility, with its expansive property, 43-acre climate-controlled plant, and deep-water access. NASA requested that the disposal of the plant be suspended, and on September 7, 1961, NASA officially acquired the property.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
Michoud was tasked with manufacturing the first stages for the Apollo missions. From there, Michoud's legacy in space exploration began. To support the new mission, Michoud saw substantial growth. Additional buildings were constructed to house subcontractors for the Saturn booster rockets production, as well as areas for engineering and administrative activities. The 18-story vehicle assembly building with an overhead crane system was added to the factory to accommodate the stacking and joining of the Apollo rockets, and the Michoud slip was put in to allow passage of maritime vessels. The deep-water port allowed the Saturn stages, which were too large to move across land, to be transported by barge to other NASA centers, a method still used today. Michoud built a total of 13 stages for the Apollo program, including Saturn 1, 1B, and 5. The boosters built at the facility helped to launch the first 3-man crew of the Apollo program into Earth's orbit and sent spacecraft on the initial leg of manned lunar expeditions. On July 16, 1969, employees in Michoud gathered to watch the famed Apollo 11 mission and took pride in their part in landing the first man on the moon. During the early 1970s, NASA refocused its efforts into space exploration and the advancement of science with its final Saturn V rocket, launching Skylab into orbit in 1973.
America's first space shuttle, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
The space shuttle brought a new perspective to space travel with a reusable system capable of hauling experiments, satellites, and parts for Skylab's successor, the International Space Station. The shuttle program also placed the Hubble Space Telescope in orbit and serviced it twice. Michoud became the manufacturing facility for the Space Shuttle external tanks, requiring more modifications to the factory, which included new tooling design and installation that would help support the shuttle missions for nearly 40 years to come. To accommodate the production of the external tank, the high bay was constructed, which included multiple cells capable of supporting the intertank and liquid oxygen tanks. For nearly 40 years, Michoud Assembly Facility supported the shuttle program's efforts. And when the final shuttle landed on July 21, 2011, the facility was once again evolving to prepare for the next generation of space exploration, Artemis. Today, Michoud's role is just as important as it's ever been. It's right here in New Orleans at the Michoud Assembly Facility where NASA, along with its partners Boeing and Lockheed Martin, are constructing NASA's Space Launch System rocket's core stage and the Orion spacecraft. While the world watched Artemis 1 successfully launch in November of 2022, production at Michoud continued. Having already delivered the second and third Orion spacecraft, teams worked to complete Orion 4, which was then shipped to Kennedy Space Center in February of 2023. Simultaneously, production of core stages for Artemis 2, 3, and 4 were well underway. Production has also begun on the more powerful Exploration Upper Stage, which will add additional payload capacity to missions beyond Artemis 3. NASA has invested in Michoud's future by building the tooling and infrastructure to continue producing the SLS core stage for many years, including the world's largest friction stir welding machine and the newest tooling additions, which will build the Exploration Upper Stage for future SLS configurations. Michoud supports more than 5,000 jobs and yields a total economic output of $875 million nationally. The facility also generates $110 million in federal, state, and local tax revenues. Michoud's rocket factory is one of the largest in the world and boasts 2.2 million square feet of production space under one roof. That's 43 acres of manufacturing space. In fact, you could fit 31 professional football fields inside the plant. NASA's Michoud Assembly Facility is constantly adapting to meet the needs of the agency's mission while finding cost-effective solutions to maintain the site and support the local community. Michoud is home to a variety of commercial tenants and federal agencies, reducing the facility's operating costs by 50% since the Space Shuttle era. Its on-site amenities include security and medical services, fire and flood protection, large-scale tooling, and proximity to various modes of transportation make it a unique place to do business. New development is on the horizon at Michoud. Industrial Realty Group has broken ground on 50 acres of land as part of an extended use lease agreement, a development that will bring light manufacturing and warehousing options to Michoud tenants. Michoud is also home to the National Center for Advanced Manufacturing, a partnership between NASA, the state of Louisiana, Louisiana State University, and the University of New Orleans. The center provides research, advanced manufacturing technology, and material evaluation techniques for aerospace and commercial markets. It helps to develop tomorrow's highly skilled workforce through educational outreach, programs, and classes. To ensure continuing presence and unyielding service to both New Orleans and NASA, we at Michoud are upgrading our infrastructure throughout the site. We're improving tooling, layout, and lighting as we aim to create the factory of the future, which will streamline the manufacturing process of building the components for the next generation of space exploration. We're engaging our local community and creating partnerships in STEM education to help recruit and instruct the future workforce as they continue NASA's mission for years to come. With NASA's sights set on deep space exploration, Michoud's future looks bright. We're committed to building the core stage for Artemis missions and standing by to support missions beyond. Michoud's unique role as America's rocket factory spans more than 60 years. It is the unwavering dedication of our team that has made it possible for Michoud to be part of all NASA human spaceflight. The people of Michoud span multiple generations and come from all walks of life, but all share the commitment to the mission and the pride that comes from being part of history in the making. The path to the moon goes right here through the Crescent City at NASA's Michoud Assembly Facility.